So today's ride, we'll be discussing the 3R challenge. Mason's ADV did it, his video, I think it was last Sunday. I'll link that up here in a card. And actually Mason did it, but he also had a couple other guys with him too. He had, I don't remember who they are now, Benham maybe and Shooter. I'm thinking that's who it may be. I don't think Melon One was with him on that ride. Anyway, 3 reasons, the 3R challenge, 3 reasons you bought the motorcycle that you currently own. And I'm sure we all have more than 3 reasons. And they made pretty good points in their videos that a lot of the reasons that they bought it are also reasons that they still own it or they keep it. So anyway, yeah, let's get right into this. So this is gonna be a long story because I can't talk. I just can't come up with points. I have to talk about something. So basically, my previous bike was a 2007 Honda VTX. That's a cruiser, 1300 V-twin, and I was in the market for something new. And I had that motorcycle for 10 years. Loved it. Never gave me a problem. It ran like a top. It wasn't the fastest. It wasn't the fanciest. It wasn't the most expensive, but it served me well. I loved it. Had enjoyed it rambling along on a cruiser. The bike before that was a sport bike, a Ducati. Anyway, so now back to the KLR. So I was in the market for something new, and the adventure motorcycle bug bit me really hard. And much like any other motorcycle, you know what you kind of know what you want. When I bought the Ducati, I wanted a sport bike because my friends had sport bikes. Then I realized that most of the people I would ride with, also other friends, had cruisers, and I was tending to ride with the cruisers more often than the sport bike guys. I just didn't, some of the sport bike riders were young guys, and they wanted to go hang out somewhere in a parking lot, and I haven't done that since high school, and that just wasn't for me. So I decided I needed a cruiser if I was going to be more comfortable on these longer rides. So what I did, I bought the VTX. Now, when I got the bug for the adventure bike, of course it was the Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman who were really enticing me to get into the adventure motorcycling. And now granted, they've got buckets of money, and they bought those motorcycles, BMWs, and the first thing they did was started tearing them apart and putting high performance aftermarket parts on there. Not like most of us aren't capable of doing that. So I kept researching, and there's the Yamaha Super Tenere. This is an adventure bike, and the Triumphs and the KTMs, and there's several motorcycles out there. But then I'm looking at these motorcycles, and the new ones anyway are priced in excess of $13,000. You can start getting into the BMWs, now you're talking $20,000 in excess. I'm not just saying 20, I'm saying in excess of 20 grand. That's a lot of money to throw down on a particular model of motorcycle that you're not 110% sure you're going to enjoy. And no matter what I did, anytime I would research adventure motorcycles, the KLR 650 was always in that list somewhere. And I began to realize just how many of these KLR 650s are on the road. How many people have ridden these KLR 650s around the world, across continents, up and down seaboards, around the world. And so I started taking notice of that. So the first thing that caught my eye on the KLR 650, so the first reason, I guess, would be the popularity. So the popularity of the KLR 650 is the first reason that caught my eye for this bike. So the more I researched the KLR 650, the more I realized that how long it had been on the market, 30 plus years. And so the aftermarket product list for the KLR 650 was so huge. So that was probably the reason number 2. The support for the bike. Everybody, there's so many forums, that have been around for years, for decades. I can't even say years, for decades. So reason number one was the popularity. Reason number two was the availability of aftermarket parts and accessories. And number three, of course, was the price. I mean, it's not a big old, you know, 1200cc monster motorcycle, but it's clearly, you know, it's got the big front tire, it's got the high fender. This motorcycle was clearly off-road capable. I'm not saying that the BMW isn't, and I'm not saying that the Super Tenere isn't either, but some of those bikes are probably much like tires we buy for our bikes. You know, I think most of those bikes are 70-30 types adventure bikes. So you got 70% on-road, and if you want to take it on a gravel trail a little bit, go ahead, without major upgrades. The KLR is ready to go hit the mud or the sand, pardon the pun, scratch, you know, right off the factory. So the price point for this motorcycle, I traded my VTX in on it. I should have sold it, probably would have made a better deal, but this is a brand new 2017 when I bought it. Had 5 miles on it when the guy took it for the run after they put the fluids in it, and I was out the door under $5,000 for this motorcycle. Took home for less than $5,000. I don't know any other motorcycles brand spanking new with the capabilities of the KLR that you can ride away from the showroom at that price point. So there you go. That's the reasons, and I'm still enjoying it. I really do. This last trip that I made, the camping trip, I had to get on the interstate for an hour or two, and even although it wasn't as enjoyable as cruising these back roads at 60 miles an hour, the KLR handled it very well. I mean, I think any motorcycle in that wind up there would have been bad. Still, even to this day, that Ducati Super Sport I had, it was, you know, it's a sub 400-pound motorcycle. If it was a windy day, you'd blow you in anywhere in the lane you wanted to be. It wanted you to be. So that's the 3R challenge. I don't know if I should call anybody out on this. You know what? I'm going to put across the screen here who I'm going to shout out to do this challenge. But yeah, man, I'm still enjoying the KLR. It's still a great bike. I have backed off on Farkles for a while. I think I got everything I need. I mean, you know, what do I need? Extra, even more bags for it. But I think probably the next thing that I'll ever put on this thing would be a suspension, some front springs, and I'm not saying I'm interested in the Cogent suspension system, but it's a possibility. I mean, there you go. That'll probably be the next thing that comes on my bike, suspension parts. So there you go, the 3Rs. You guys be safe, ride safe, and don't forget, August the 3rd, the first Saturday in the month of August at noon Paris time, is the Sink the Planet ride. The last Sink the Planet ride is going to occur this year. So if you haven't participated, this is your last chance to give it a shot. So here's your opportunity to be a part of the Sink the Planet ride if you haven't, or if you've been procrastinating. If you always say next year, next year, next year, well, you won't be able to say that anymore. So if you have any intentions on doing the Sink the Planet ride, this is it. This is it. Meet some people from around the world, see some rides from different parts of the world, and perspectives on what other people feel about the topic. And the topic for this year's ride is inspiration. There it is. Now you guys go with it. Alright, that's enough rambling and flapping my jibs. You guys ride safe. I'll talk to y'all again soon. I'm out. I want to take a couple minutes and thank you. If you watched the video all the way to the end and you're seeing this, I really, really appreciate it. I'll put my email address and my mailing address right over here somewhere. And if you have stickers you want to send me, I'd appreciate it. Talk to y'all again soon. Goodbye.